Happy Mother's Day weekend to you know, all the women who are mothers. You know that word, mother. A few years back they were running around saying what's the definition of a woman. What does it mean to be a woman? Or that was big controversy a little while back. And now it's you know, uh, it's funny because I would have to ask, what's the definition of a mother? It's one of those funny words. It's a title that you get for having children. Now, you still get to be a mom even if you don't have biological children. But of course, having biological children, like, kind of instantly makes you a mother, right? But when it comes to what it means to be a mom, it's like the biggest gaslighting campaign in the world. You know, there's a prominent figure in the Bible, and when he was a little boy, his mother gave him away. She gave him to the church to be raised by men of God that could teach him how to be a godly man. It's funny because this particular woman, she wanted nothing more than to be a mom. She wanted to be a mother so bad. Her soul ached for a child, just ached. And she must have been a single mom because I can't imagine a mother giving her child up to the church, being married in those times, and the father not have anything to say about it. Not only that, if the father was involved in the picture, I'm sure they would have mentioned him as well, for crying out loud. Mary, Mary of Nazareth, technically she was an unwed mother. And yet Joseph, all of his involvement through her pregnancy, taking care of her, keeping her safe, finding and creating a safe space for her to be able to have a child under duress because they were being hunted down. Like, his involvement was noted. So I'm assuming if this young man that I'm talking about, if his mother had have had a man in her life, that would have been mentioned. But no, she prayed. Like, she prayed like crazy to have a kid. And she finally did. And when he was like, I know he was definitely under the age of 8 years old, she sent him to the church to be raised by the ministers, and he was. And he became a strong man of God. Never do I hear them saying that he looked down on her or called her unfit. Never did I hear anything about them saying that she was unfit or she was ungrateful. Like, it's just weird because nowadays everyone likes to judge everyone's motherhood. And for me, how I see it is this. Whether you're physically there or not there, making the right choice for your child is what constitutes being a good mom. Doing your best to provide like the best example possible for your kids. Like that's how I see it. I see it very clearly. It's just very simple. Like a good mom cares about her behavior. Like in my opinion, when I look at this image, I don't see a good mom. I just don't. Like you can pop out as many kids as you want and you can buy them all the stuff in the world. Like I find it funny like cuz when I hear people talk about this person as a mother, like most of the time what they're saying is oh, she's got plenty of money. Oh, look at her kids. They're dressed so cute. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that. It's always about money. But outside of her popping her kids on camera so people can see, oh, look, I'm such a good mom. My kids live like this and my kids have that and do and blah, blah. Like other than that, like I just don't get it. I don't see it. I don't see how someone who makes as many poor life choices as she makes and to do it publicly for money. Like I don't see how she can possibly have anything positive, like anything positive to share with her kids. I just don't. I don't. There's pictures of her little daughter culture um dressed in very very provocative like bathing suits and stuff like that. They take pictures of her and post it up online for the world to see. You know, there was a picture of her daughter in this little bathing suit and she's sitting there posing very adult like with her legs open, and I'm just sitting there thinking to myself like, how in God's name do you justify objectifying your child like this? Like, with everything we know that's going on out here, with all of the children that are constantly being victimized, with all of the kids that are being taken, how do you justify parading your children online? Like, I just, am and this is a mom. This is considered a mom. I don't understand it. You know, like a lot of people are sitting around making a big deal about this picture. This is
Why they making a
pathetic.
big deal about it? Why they making a big deal about it? This is
Oh, well, because Cardi got her man back, or they never really broke up, and oh, look at them, they're so happy. And I'm like,
hmm,
huh?
hmm, hmm.
So apparently, you know, that's the big social media thing for this weekend. Him and her doing photo ops with his family, not with her
Oh,
family, with his family.
hmm,
And I'm just like, I'm starting to see a pattern when it comes to her. You don't see her spending a lot of time with her family. You don't see her posting her family up online. You don't see a whole lot. Like you don't even see her sister who used to be on social media with her anymore. The Hennessy girl. You don't see any of her real life with her anymore. She's always posted up under whatever dude she's laying up under in his family, like trying to find a way to validate herself with these people, with these families. And the truth is, don't nobody like her. Nobody. Offset's family didn't like her, they liked her money. And guess what? I truly doubt that this dude's family is any different.
Hmm.
More importantly, after everything that you just heard all week long, you got this idiot hugging up on you and kissing up on you. You don't know where his mouth been. He probably can barely remember where his mouth been. And he like goofy broads. And you running around talking about prep. So it's clear that you already know that the bodily fluids and the stuff like that, like
The bodily fluids are running a rampant, huh?
you saw that goofball on stand. Listen to me, Cat, even if he did scrub his tongue, the kind of stuff these people pass around is in your bloodstream. It's funny, a lot of people be having a whole lot of things to say about me, but I can tell people I got a clean bill of health.
Well, you sure do. And I'll be around you, and the only thing high on me is my cholesterol,
I just,
and
I don't,
everything else is negative. Just like you know, you take care of yourself for sure. Can't
like, I
nobody put
just,
nothing on you.
people can say what they want to say. At the end of the day, you don't hear me running around talking about it. You don't hear me running around bragging about it. There's a lot of people that lie about it. Like not long ago, that liar who just got popped in court again, Trash K, I heard she was over on IG with some
Oh,
weirdo
really?
idiot that they hired to put in my life and to put on my bond over there lying about me and my physical status.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. She might want to think about removing all of that stuff that she had on IG, especially after what just happened to her in court.
Don't give her no warnings, Jack. Don't do that.
I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I actually have people that can testify to the fact that I ain't got no issues. Now you got yourself in trouble with this weirdo, and as promiscuous as she is, you got caught lying about her situation. If you were wrong about this weirdo, I know you wrong about me. But long and short of it, this is supposed to be the hot tea for the weekend. Oh my God, look at them. Like, look at what?
Yeah, look at like is that the new goals? You know how they used to hashtag goals, couples goals. Is that really that's it?
I tell you what I do know. These physically intimate, irresponsible people are the last people you should be checking for. And looking at, like, I just find it funny that this is all that it takes to get people all up in arms again. And they're not even paying attention to the fact that she's still married to a man who just got popped in his behind at a casino, who owes money all over the country. She's got another one who apparently disguises his very a man act looking ish behavior with giving people jobs for stuff that they can't possibly be capable of doing. Who's just sticking and jamming himself into everything. Like, it's wild. It's wild to me. Meanwhile, while everybody's worried about that, I'm gonna tell you what else everybody should be worried about. They should be worried about this like button.
Yeah, y'all got to hit the like button. 28 likes for how many people is in here. Come on,
It's
show some love, show
crazy.
some support, for real.
We're sitting here, we're doing, you know, our research, and it's getting real interesting. It's getting real interesting.
I'm very proud of y'all. The research that you guys are digging up. Yeah, yeah, it's very great. It's good, good work. Can't wait for everybody to see it, hear it.
Well, see, what I'm starting to realize and understand is this. It's not about what's in those files. It's about what didn't make those files. I'm kind of embarrassed actually that no one's talking about this woman.
Break it down. Who is she?
Her name is Denise George,
Okay, and where is she from?
Virgin Islands.
Hmm. She looks like an island guy. She does. And what does she do?
She's a lawyer. She also happens to be the former Attorney General of the United States Virgin Islands.
And for those who don't know what the attorney general does, the attorney general pretty much what prosecutes criminals on a federal level.
Please do me a favor. Anybody who's using like, please misspell
Yeah, no curse
miss.
words and none of that. You like
Yeah,
can't do that. Doing a whole lot.
it's kind of wild. Denise N. George, also known as Denise George Counts, is a U.S. Virgin Islands lawyer and former television news reporter who served as the Attorney General of the United States Virgin Islands. She completed her Bachelor, of Arts, her BA degree in radio, television, and film at the University of Maryland, College Park. George completed a Juris Doctor degree from Howard University School of Law in 1984. Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. She was in office from May 14th, 2019 to January 1st, 2023. She was fired December 2022. She was preceded by Claude Walker in her job and huh, succeeded by Carol Thomas Jacobs, who's still acting to this day. She was working under Governor Albert Bryan. I was listening and looking into some things, and you know what? Let me let you hear a little something
Go
because
ahead.
this was, and I mean, this woman is up in age. She's in her 60s. She's approaching 70 now.
I mean,
So
yeah, graduating from well, what did she get her BA at Howard in '84? Yeah, she's no spring chicken.
she got her law degree in
Oh,
84, but
damn, in '84. Wow. So she's yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
she's up there. She's like pushing 70, but
Wow. And this is a current picture of her.
yeah, well, more recent.
More recent. I ain't gonna say yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing. I'll say not bad for close to 70, but when
Yeah,
you see a lot of these politicians, people, I've met a lot of politicians. It's I ain't gonna say Photoshop, but it's just different. Like you see them in person, you're like, okay, but the
they don't
camera
look the
does
same.
something. No, not at
But
all. Not at all.
she is. You know, you can tell she's an island gal. Yeah,
Yeah.
she looks like a better looking version of Mama D with common sense.
Ah,
But wait a
a
minute, you
smart
have
Mama
to.
D.
Yeah, Mama D with sense. You got to hear
She told the
this.
FBI that she had the goods in her.
Listen to this.
Okay.
DOJ says there's no credible evidence to investigate Epstein's associates. As a former SDNY Criminal Division deputy chief who prosecuted sex trafficking cases, I disagree. In October of 2023, former U.S. Virgin Islands Attorney General Denise George went to the FBI with explosive claims. She said Epstein's lawyer and accountant were participants in Epstein's human trafficking operation. She said the sitting governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands tried to shut down her investigation. And she told the FBI that she had the goods in her case file. She even told the FBI where it was and how to get it. So here's the question. Did the FBI follow up on George's complaint or ignore it? There's no sign in the Epstein files of George's case file or any follow up with her. Why not? George.
Good question. Why isn't any of what she found? This is the woman who tracked down the money trail for Epstein and linked him to JP Morgan and got that lawsuit through. None of this is in the files.
Is a highly credible source. She followed the money across over 140 Epstein bank accounts. She identified over $3.5 million in payments to young women. She pursued the Epstein estate, JP Morgan, and billionaire Leon Black, and helped secure massive multi-million dollar settlements from all of them. She fought the rich and the powerful, all while facing intense pressure to back down. Days after George filed the lawsuit against JP Morgan, the U.S. Virgin Islands governor fired her. She started giving interviews, then got hit with a cease and desist letter to shut her up. An unknown man showed up at her home. She said the message was clear. We can reach you at your home. And despite all of that, she still went to the FBI. That's how strongly she felt that the FBI should open a criminal investigation based on what she had uncovered. She named names. She gave FBI a roadmap in her interview. She told them where to find the evidence in her case file. Did DOJ ever investigate George's bombshell claims? Did they get her case file? If they didn't, why not? And if they
Great question. But understand this. This was all she did all of this back in 2023. So we can't even blame it on the Trump administration because they didn't come in until the top of 25. Cash Patel didn't get, this was the Biden administration. This is Biden. This is Kamala. Why is it that everybody is so hot to point all of the fingers at the Republicans and not look at everything that the Democrats looked over as well? Like, this is what I keep trying to tell everybody. This isn't about whose side is good and whose side is bad. This woman
Wow.
brought all of this to light.
Wow.
Meanwhile, everybody's sitting there talking about, oh, Kamala, 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 Kamala. If she went to the FBI with this information, there's absolutely no way they didn't get briefed about it at the White House.
Right.
There's no way. And on top of that, she was fired and she still went to the FBI.
So why are you disappointed? Did you say you were disappointed in her?
And who?
This woman here.
God, no.
Oh. Because I'm like, she sounds like she
She reminds me of
doing the
me.
right thing. Yeah, standing on business, doing the right thing. So you're disappointed in the system. Got it.
This is insane. This is insane.
And
Thing is,
she's an
why
attorney.
isn't it?
She's an attorney general. That like
She
that
was.
should have been right. That should have been like, oh, easy, no brainer, boom. Like she knows what time it is. Wow.
She was.
The Epstein files. The evidence exists. George told the FBI about it. DOJ leaders' refusal to investigate any of the Epstein associates is a choice, and it is the wrong one. The Epstein survivors deserve better. I'm going to show you
Yeah.
the Epstein files so you can see for yourself George's shocking claims. After Epstein's death and a briefing from the former acting AG, George believed Epstein was involved in criminal activity. U.S. Virgin Islands Governor Albert Bryan Jr. told George, "He's dead. Go for it." What does that mean? So if Epstein had still been alive and suspected of crimes, would Bryan have said no? And why did Bryan get a say at all? AGs are supposed to make independent decisions. George brought in the law firm Motley Rice to assist in filing a criminally influenced and corrupt organizations act lawsuit against Epstein's estate to recover criminal proceeds. She filed this lawsuit against the Epstein estate in January of 2020. Here's what George told the
Mm,
FBI. Motley Rice started interviewing employees of the Epstein estate. David Bourne, Bryan's chief legal.
Now let's be clear. When she did this, Trump was in office.
yeah.
Counsel and a former employee of Epstein's lawyer, Erica Kellerhouse, called George and stated, "I'm getting calls from Kellerhouse," and asked what George was investigating. George replied that it was none of Kellerhouse's business. George also said that all Epstein employees had non-disclosure agreements and were informed if questioned by law enforcement to say nothing and alert Kellerhouse. Epstein was dead at this point. So why is his U.S. Virgin Islands-based lawyer snooping around about George's investigation? Who was she trying to protect? Bryan's original tone of "go for it" changed to "end it quickly." Bryan would
Mm,
message George with questions on why she was interviewing certain people, requesting documents, or filing certain items. Bryan told George that originally, when I said go ahead, I didn't think it was going to go this far. I can't get you to let this go? Hold on. Why did the governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands want his attorney general to let this go? Who was he trying to protect? Why were George's moves ruffling feathers in the U.S. Virgin Islands? Maybe because George followed the money. Here are her accusations against Epstein's lawyer Darren Indyke and Epstein's accountant Richard Kahn. Indyke and Kahn signed trust checks for a combined value of over $1 million made out personally to young women or their associated entities. What was the $1 million for? Hot massages, and you can't say you didn't know. You signed the checks. How is that not worth the DOJ investigating? George uncovered more. Payments from one account, for which Indyke had signatory authority, totaling over $2.5 million, were made to dozens of women with Eastern European surnames, purportedly for hotel expenses, tuition, and rent, and to, again, the immigration lawyer in New York who was involved in one or more forced marriages arranged among Epstein's victims to secure the victim's immigration status.
Do you hear this crap?
I hear it. Wow. Wow. Oh man. This deep dive. Oh man.
This is
Wow.
insane.
It's
Why was
incredible.
Epstein paying over $2.5 million to dozens of Eastern European women? Why did he pay for their hotels, tuition, and rent, allegedly? $2.5 million for multiple masseuses' living expenses? Why was Epstein paying an immigration lawyer to help these women get status to stay in the United States? Indyke had signatory authority for this account, but What? He had no idea about these $2.5 million in payments? We're supposed to believe he never asked any questions about that? He was Epstein's lawyer. And George found more. Epstein, with Kahn and Indike, held and managed at least 140 different bank accounts for Epstein and Epstein-owned entities, many of which existed only to transfer payments to other entities and accounts. Okay, 140 different bank accounts, including accounts just to move money around. Huge red flag for money laundering. So what illegal activity was being concealed? George answered that question too. George claims that Indike and Kahn participated with Epstein in coercing his sex trafficking victims in at least 3 cases to enter into arranged and forced marriages in order to obtain immigration status for the foreign women so that they could continue to be available to Epstein for his abuse. So this suggests that George had at least 3 victims cooperating with her investigation. And it looks like George had documents tying Indike and Kahn to this immigration fraud scheme. George claimed that Kahn provided a letter of reference for at least 1 immigration application and tax services to the spouses. Indike paid the immigration lawyer who applied for citizenship for the women and threatened at least one who indicated she would seek a divorce. George's general claims about this coercive aspect to Epstein's international sex trafficking and immigration fraud are backed up by Brad Edwards, a lawyer for many Epstein survivors. Here's what Brad Edwards told the Epstein and Maxwell judges. He said that Epstein engaged in extensive immigration fraud executed to illegally internationally transport aspiring young models into this country, where he would hold their visas and companies that he created and their passports in his possession so that they could not escape and so that he was able to control and essentially enslave them, confiscating victims.
Do you hear this?
Jag, this is crazy.
Now, this
Do
is
me a
the
favor.
tie-in with the models. Yeah.
No, I was just about look. Stay on their neck. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna tap back in. This battery, of course, is low. I'm gonna charge. I may tap back in, but no, stay on their neck. This is good. I'll be listening.
Okay. We're going to listen a little bit more.
Passports and visas so they can't leave is a key coercive tactic used by sex traffickers. Recruiting and transporting women into the United States for commercial sex acts through coercion meets the definition of a federal sex trafficking crime. And anyone who agreed to participate in Epstein's sex trafficking operation and acted in furtherance of his sex trafficking activities or aided and abetted him in doing so, they can be criminally liable too. In 2022, George amended her complaint to add Indike and Kahn as co-conspirators. That is a big deal. But she did more than that. She called them indispensable captains of Epstein's criminal enterprise, roles for which they were richly rewarded. Those are big accusations. Accusations that no criminal prosecutor in the United States had made. But according to George, Brian had no interest in pursuing Epstein's co-conspirators. Here's what George told the FBI. Brian informed George to settle with the Epstein estate for $80 million and to pursue mediation and select Henry Smock. Henry Smock, who helped Epstein purchase Little St. James, as the mediator. Brian told George that the Epstein estate just wanted to clear people. Brian later told George that he was sick of her not doing what she was told to do. Okay, what is going on here? Brian had no business dictating case strategy to the Attorney General. If George's account is accurate, the real question is, why was the governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands trying to help the Epstein estate to clear people? And one reason that we should believe George? Brian's shocking answers when he was deposed in the U.S. Virgin Islands lawsuit against J.P. Morgan. Brian admitted being aware that he, Epstein, copped a plea to having sex with a hooker who was underage.
Lord.
Calling an underage girl a hooker is despicable. He later apologized for his language. When asked, "You're saying you were not aware that he was alleged to have paid several girls under 18 in return for naked massages?" Brian replied, "I may have been aware." It's a cagey response. That seems like something you should remember and find horrifying.
I may have been
When
aware,
asked how he learned,
says the governor. I may have been aware, says the governor. Now, for those who don't know, because people like to do a whole lot of talking about Epstein Island, it's right there in the territory of the United States Virgin Islands. He physically lived on Little St. James, and Great St. James was the adjacent larger island where, they had police and restaurants and residential and, huh.
that Epstein had been arrested again, Brian claims that he wasn't really interested, to tell you the truth. He said he remembered the AG making a public statement that said none of these victims were from the Virgin Islands. "That's what I remember. At that point, I turned my attention elsewhere." Okay, I'm not buying it. The Epstein files show that a few months before Epstein's 2019 arrest, Brian was helping Epstein regarding his unauthorized constructions on his island. I suspect Brian was very interested in it.
So we see what's going on here. The governor of the Virgin Islands was very much so involved with helping Jeffrey Epstein and his construction plans. Hmm. They're always working together. And Kat, you heard what I had to say. Who do you go to when everybody's bought and paid for?
Epstein's arrest. And just taking a step back, why should it matter whether the victims were from the U.S. Virgin Islands? If Epstein was sex trafficking girls there, why wouldn't that concern the governor? Ultimately, the U.S. Virgin Islands settled with the Epstein estate for $105 million, with JP Morgan for $75 million, and with Leon Black for $60 million. How has the U.S. Virgin Islands spent the Epstein-related settlement money? We don't know. Despite a 2024 law requiring a full report of how that money is being spent, Brian's administration hasn't complied. What if people who enabled Epstein's crimes on the U.S. Virgin Islands are now profiting from them? And don't you want to know what evidence George had to make the Epstein estate, JP Morgan, and Leon Black pay? There's a way to find out. George used Motley Rice to investigate. Motley Rice has a copy of the case file. Point of contact at this law firm, Motley Rice, her name was Linda Singer. I've searched the Epstein files and I didn't see this case file. So either DOJ is hiding it or they never got it. That case file may contain evidence to support a criminal investigation into Epstein's associates, like George told the FBI. Congress should subpoena Motley Rice for the case file and subpoena George to testify. She told the FBI she was open to future contact, but I saw no indication that the FBI ever followed up with her. That's a travesty. On December 27, 2022, George filed a lawsuit against JP Morgan for not reporting Epstein's suspicious financial transactions related to Epstein's sex trafficking operations. 4 days later, Brian fired her. Why? One reason Brian gave was that no attorney general was going to file anything without notifying the governor. Seriously? Clearly, Brian didn't want an AG. He wanted a puppet. And speaking of puppet AGs, here are 5 questions members of Congress should ask AG Pam Bondi under oath. 1. Did the DOJ ever investigate AG George's serious claims against Epstein's lawyer and accountant and the current U.S. Virgin Islands governor? 2. Did DOJ ever obtain George's case file? 3. Did DOJ or FBI ever follow up with Agent George? 4. If the answer to any of those questions is no, why the hell not? And if the answer is yes, why isn't that evidence in the Epstein files? 5. Will you commit to opening a criminal investigation based on a referral from this highly credible source? Releasing the Epstein files mattered because transparency gets us closer to accountability for the FBI, for the DOJ, and for Epstein's co-conspirators. Thank you for watching.
Salute to Courtside with Christy Greenberg. She has some really great questions. They all make perfect sense. Why? Happy Mother's Day to you, Denise. Denise George, former Attorney General. You know what? How about we just take a listen to what she has to say? Just a little bit. Hi, I'm Attorney General Denise George with a very important message. Human trafficking is a form of modern day slavery, a crime that involves the use of force, fraud, or coercion to compel an adult to engage in prostitution, commercial sexual activity, and also includes engaging a minor or person under 18 in prostitution or commercial sex activity. Traffickers use many means to gain control over their victims, including, in part, threats of violence, false promises of well-paying legitimate jobs, careers, or training, manipulation, threats of deportation in the case of undocumented persons, and luring persons into romantic relationships that turn into violent or coerced sexual servitude or prostitution. Every year, millions of men and women and children of all races, genders, or nationalities are trafficked, exploited, and abused throughout the nation, including right here in the Virgin Islands. In fact, the Federal Human Trafficking Report for 2020 showed that the U.S. Virgin Islands federal courts handled the highest number of active defendants in local human trafficking cases than any other state in the United States when taking population into account. And that does not include the notorious Epstein or Maxwell cases. Human trafficking is a highly profitable crime run by criminal enterprises or individuals. Despite the significant amount of cases nationally and locally, human trafficking remains underreported. This means that sex trafficking victims in the Virgin Islands continue to suffer in silence until they can be rescued by federal or local law enforcement and local victim services organizations such as the Family Resource Center in St. Thomas and the Women's Coalition in St. Croix, both of which have been providing help for local trafficking victims for years and continue to do so. Human life is not for sale. If you are a victim or suspect you know one, help is available. If you suspect that you or someone you know is a victim of human trafficking, whether it is sex trafficking, forced labor, please say something. Contact 911 for the Virgin Islands Police Department that can connect also with federal authorities that are working in partnership with them. The following hotlines are available 24/7 to make a report, and that's at the Women's Coalition, which is a 24-hour hotline at 340-773-9272. Also, the Family Resource Center, also 24/7, and that's 340-776-7867. That's 776-7867 is stop, means 776 stop. The Family Resource Center is based in St. Thomas, St. John area. The Women's Coalition based in St. Croix area. You can also contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline. That's at 1-888-373-7888. or text 233-733. I invite you to learn more about human trafficking in the Virgin Islands. Tune in to the webinar sponsored by the Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Council.
We're listening to the woman who I have posted up on this screen. You want to know what's really wild? The first audio I played you, that video had like 100 and some odd thousand views. It was put up like a month ago here. What I just played you, this PSA from the woman who had her foot on Jeffrey Epstein's neck and all of his associates and all of his network right down there in the Virgin Islands, the US Virgin Islands. It's got it's got what, 1,500 views? That went up 4 years ago, right before she got fired. There's another video that she has up. She did a full episodes, 30 to 50 minutes. I'm sitting here looking at one. It only has 161 views. You're telling me that's some kind of mistake? This information that she's been sharing about what she discussed, it's been there here on YouTube for 4 years. For years. All her videos together have less than 10,000 views. How? How? How does information this important not only go unseen, but go unpromoted? I see shorts of these weirdos who don't know how to keep their private parts to themselves, who don't do nothing but run around, encouraging people to be their worst selves and spend a ton of money on a bunch of stupid, thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of clicks. And the stuff that they doing is encouraging people to end up in these terrible, terrible circumstances that this woman was sitting here campaigning against, championing. She had people come to her home. It's unbelievable the stuff we give our attention to. Now, she's one attorney general who was busting her hump to break down as much of, of Jeffrey, you know who's network after he allegedly passed away. She went after the lawyer. She went after the bankers. She went after JP Morgan and won $105 million. And guess what? That's not all. She went after other funds that were being held down there in the Virgin Islands, to which the governor was sitting on her neck, got in her way, and then fired her. That's why I don't understand why people spend so much time trying to create doubt around me. You know, people who are doing the right thing, they do everything that they can do to stop them or to try to find a way to make the public not trust them. The liars and the weirdos, the artists of make believe, them, oh, they get lots of views. Like weirdos like Tori Outlaw. Like, people don't understand how this game works. Now that's one attorney general. Let's check out another. Let's just check out another. Cause it's wild to me. Ugh. Like it's. Hold on a second. Here we go. Let's just we gonna take a little
Chef
listen.
prepared restaurant quality meals designed by registered
Are you
dietitians
kidding
for
me?
where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child sex trafficking. And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need that you're holding on to and over redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability? I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times. About I had. Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator. My answer. Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already. You're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name. Reclaiming my time. I'm gonna answer this question. Reclaiming my time. He was. Mr. Chairman. How this works? Can I have my time? He was. Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from. All right, I'm reclaiming my time. My answer. So yes. I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen. Chairman, may I give another my question on that? Yes. Here's the question. Joke, and I need to give my answer on that. We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to the question. My time. Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back. Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed. Red-handed? There was one redaction. Where he's listed as a co-conspirator. And we invited you in. Gentlemen. This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to. You're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
I want you to watch the video. Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules here.
there is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
Is that your position as well? My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein? I am reclaiming my time. I'm glad you're asking about Merrick Garland. Because this is bigger than Watergate. When I don't answer the question, this goes over 4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it. And that's now, where I want to know at what point. I'm so glad he said that. Jeffrey Epstein getting busted, those files being confiscated. He's absolutely right. Many, many administrations, many men, many men passed on their opportunity to give transparency to the American people. Many men. That's why the idea of the Trump administration doing it was such a big deal. I mean, for crying out loud, Elon Musk fell out with the administration almost straight away after them getting into office in 2025. And one of the first things that he had to say after he got kicked out, caught getting high in the White House allegedly, uh, first thing he had to say was that the president was in the files. That's the first thing he had to say. And I wasn't surprised that he was going to say it at all. I wasn't surprised that he did it at all. Not at all. This is so much bigger. And meanwhile, everybody is distracted by going to the movies or going to a concert, going to a show. Haven't you noticed the entertainment industry hasn't been this active since the pandemic? They got everybody working, everyone. They are pulling every distraction that they possibly can, every distraction that they possibly can to keep you enamored. They've got blockbuster movies back in the movie theaters. Get them out in the street, get them moving around, get them spending money, get them busy. Don't give them any more time to sit at home. Don't give them any time to think about what's really going on. You know, I take no pleasure in being right. I played my position. I did my part. I gave everybody a fair opportunity to prove me wrong. And ain't nobody proved nothing. A bunch of people saying that I'm a liar. A bunch of people saying that I'm wrong. A bunch of people saying, "Oh no, she don't know what she's talking about. She don't know what she's talking about. Oh, there's no way she could possibly know what she's talking about. Oh, she's not. She couldn't know this. She couldn't know that. She didn't know this. She didn't know that. She didn't do this. She didn't do that." A lot of conversation. So many. Let's listen to her duck and dodge a little more. I can help anyone. Oh, no Lord. Matter no, their experience level. Okay, got it. You can help. You can help. You can help. I'm not going to discuss pending litigation. Okay, so theoretically, you're saying because his privacy rights were violated in that tax case, and they were. I'm with the president on that. I mean, his Mar-a-Lago thing is ridiculous, but There's no doubt that his tax returns, despite the fact that he promised to release them, despite the fact that every other president released the tax returns, he suffered embarrassment when it showed that he hadn't paid taxes for several years, and he had a right for that not to happen. Now, I want to turn back to the Epstein survivors, because President Trump may have been a little bit embarrassed by the release of those tax returns. How much do you think the claims of these survivors are worth? As the good congressman from Kentucky just pointed out, there were lots of survivors who had decided, for reasons of their own, never to release their names. That determination was represented to people in Congress, and we built it into our federal law that their names could not be released. And yet you published their names, their phone numbers, their addresses, personally identifying information. If Donald Trump can get $10 billion theoretically from the Department of Justice, how much should these people get for a far worse violation of their privacy rights and a far greater danger established to them in their lives? Do you even know who Chase Mulligan is? You're so obsessed with you don't. I'm going to teach you the rules again. You're the Attorney General of the United States. We have rules here. With him. You're the Attorney General of the United States. You're obsessed with Donald Trump. You have Trump derangement syndrome. Mr. Chairman, I'd like my time restored. I'd like my time restored. In your district. In your district, and you don't even know about it, about keeping children safe from online predators. Time belongs to the gentleman from Maryland. The gentleman can proceed. Yeah. Did you see that pivot? That was a heck of a pivot. She was able to pull up intel and data about an online child predator in his district and to throw the name of that person in his face. And yet she still couldn't manage to explain how they were able to redact all of the predators from the files and then expose all of the witnesses. I want the whole country to look at this. Because this is the Attorney General of the United States, whose job is law enforcement. We've never had a witness who has misunderstood our rules and been unable to conform his or her conduct to our rules before. We have only 5 minutes. And so we use our time to ask you specific questions. How long are you giving me to Excuse me, I'm not yielding to you right now. I'd like that second restored too. So, Ms. Bondi, the way it works is we ask you a question and you answer it. And if you go off on a wild goose chase, another tangent, you start reading statistics or you start talking about stuff going on in our district. And by the way, I invite you to my district. Come to my district. But that's not what we're here to do today. Okay, so, and you do that, then we're allowed to say we reclaim our time. At that point, you have to be quiet. You have no choice. You have to be quiet. So I hope you understand the rule of this point. Now, here's what I want to ask you. You're in law enforcement. We've seen all kinds of evidence of crimes. And when we go over to the Department of Justice for the 4 computers for every member of Congress, we see more evidence of crimes. Will you create a joint task force of the Department of Justice and governors and state attorney generals and district attorneys across the country to investigate the crimes that have taken place against these victims and more than 1,000 like them? The DOJ is not doing its job. Will you create a task force with state and local law enforcement to make that happen? Lady can respond if she wants to. She was thinking about that pivot hard as hell. You want to know what I find funny? She wasn't interested in talking about a task force, but she definitely was very, very, very busy. Very busy. Making sure she signed off on the NSPM 7, the National Security Presidential Memorandum. Thank you, Chairman. He called Chase Mulligan a wild goose chase and didn't even know who he was. He is a defendant in your own district who preyed on girls. Mr. Chairman. Well, you know what? If he were part of the Epstein investigation, you wouldn't do anything about it. Online chat rooms. Jesus. And committed sex. Wow.
He said if he was a part of the files, you wouldn't do nothing about it. That's a hell of a statement. This was kind of wild, too. Oh, wait a minute. This was kind of wild. This was kind of wild. This is some interesting stuff here.
I'm putting together a small team of partners right now to help me flip dirt. And I want to show you exactly how to do it.
I mean,
No cost, no.
I let you hear.
The number is a total misleading factor. We have not released anyone's name in the Epstein files that has not been credible.
Director,
We have released every piece of legally permissible information.
Okay,
You can characterize the numbers however you want it.
Claiming my time, Director.
By the way, the voice that you hear talking there, that's Cash Patel. So they're literally taking his testimony from when they questioned him and they're playing it for Pam Bondi. And they're, trying to see if they can get them to, I don't know. You know what I'm saying.
It sounds like if you don't know the number, it could at least be 1,000 times.
It's not. It's not.
Is it at least 500 times?
No.
Is it at least 100 times?
No.
Then what's the number?
I don't know the number.
I understand why the victims are frustrated, and the Attorney General acknowledged what Mr. Patel would not acknowledge, that it was way more than 1,000 times. But I want to move, Madam Attorney General, to weaponization of government. And yesterday it was reported that 6 members of Congress had indictments sought against him, and they were not returned by a grand jury. My colleagues have spoken about their frustration of being in subpoenas and having cell phone records combed through. Well, in 2017 and 2018, Adam Schiff and I had our cell phone records and email records combed through, not by you, but a different Department of Justice under the president. It was in retaliation for our role in the Russia interference campaign. An inspector general report would find this improper and that the predicate for it was absurd. In 2020, after sitting on 2 committees that were a part of the president's first impeachment, an FBI agent leaked my cooperation in a national security case where my campaign was targeted. The president's FBI senior leadership authorized 2 statements to the press that said I was never suspected of wrongdoing and only helped the investigation. But that didn't stop the death threats or my GOP colleagues from referring me to an ethics investigation where Kevin McCarthy's chairman on the ethics committee would find the same thing as the FBI. Our current FBI director would then write a book called Government Gangsters and identify a long list of enemies. About a quarter of them have been either investigated or indicted. He listed me at the very top, along with Adam Schiff, and during that same testimony, refused to recuse himself when asked if he would recuse if any case came across his desk involving me or people on that list. Since that testimony, his department has put me under investigation with Senator Schiff for the nonsense mortgage fraud cases that we've seen. I get it. This is what the president does. I've priced it in. We have a bingo card at home that my kids have made of what will come next. I expected that the president would come after his enemies, but what I want to
Not a
talk to you
bingo
next
card.
is serious, and I did not expect this would happen, and I'd like your help on it. The president has inspired death threats against me and many sitting up here with me.
Lord.
In June 2025, an individual left 11 voicemails at my district office. On the voicemails, they said, get the message to him. I'm going to hunt him down, that motherfucker, and toss his ass over the Golden Gate Bridge by my fucking self. Donald Trump's Department of Justice in the Northern District of California declined to prosecute. On May 14, 2025, on Twitter, responding to something I posted, an individual said, no, it wasn't Eric, and now I'm going to kill you. The Department of Justice from the Southern District of Texas declined to prosecute. May through December of 2025, we received messages at my office that said, I hope somebody shoots you and your children and your wife in the head.
Ah!
Pew, pew, motherfucker, pew, pew. I would stay indoors as much as possible, and my children, unfortunately, have to do that. The Department of Justice has not charged this individual and cited that he's a prolific caller and has health conditions, although what we have found in our own investigation and his voicemails is that he has said he will employ others to do this. The president can come after me. It's fine. I'm in the arena. So are these folks. But we never expected that the Department of Justice would not seek to prosecute and investigate those who are making threats against us. And that would include those on that side of the aisle. And I'm just asking for your help to protect life because life is at risk with the environment we're in right now.
Congressman, I completely agree with you. I know about several of those personally involving you. I believe one has been charged publicly, and there's something I would be happy to talk to you about off camera. But I can assure you that they are very serious. They are being looked into, and I can give you more details on those. None of you should be threatened, ever. None of your children should be threatened. None of your families should be threatened. And I will work with, you can come into my office any day. I will work with all of you on both sides of the aisle if you are ever threatened. And I'll gladly talk to you after this hearing about your cases. But I can tell you some of them are very active. Appreciate that. I yield back. Gentleman yields back, and we're sorry for what the gentleman and his
Isn't
family
that
had to go through.
Welcome,
We
VB.
appreciate what the
Welcome,
Attorney
VB
General said.
Nation.
And I think some of the things that, are you up next? Gentleman from New York is recognized. Three signs your car accident may be worth major compensation.
I'm just
If you've been in a
saying,
car accident recently, there are three critical.
this stuff is wild. This is what it sounds like. Her talking to Congress. You know, considering the way they ask questions, I can see why Sean Carter don't want to go. They ask tough questions. They really don't play a whole lot of game. They get into it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hold on a second. This is another intense moment.
Another felony. This is who you choose as a chief law enforcement officer of the United States of America to hire at the Department of Justice. Someone on video yelling, "Kill him," at police officers, right? I believe he was pardoned by President Trump. Oh, he was pardoned. You're right. You're right.
I'll tell you, those pardons are something else.
Kill him at police officers. And yet you expect hardworking police officers across the country to believe that you take law enforcement seriously. You could imagine the reaction of so many folks across the country hearing the chief law enforcement officer of the United States refuse to even condemn what that individual whom you've now hired did. But in any
See why
event,
you got fired.
let's talk a little bit about some of the other divisions within the Department of Justice and what's happened over the last year. You're familiar with the public integrity section of the DOJ's criminal division. I think it's referred to as PIN. Is that right? Yes. Okay. Do you know which presidential administration under which the PIN was first created? I can tell you what administration that the weaponization was ended under. I'll reclaim my time. This wasn't a trick question. You don't get to reclaim your time. Madam Attorney General,
Because I don't like it.
Mr. Chairman,
I
will
don't
you
answer
explain the
the
witness
question
that
the way
he
you like
does
it.
reclaim his time?
Because I don't answer a question
So-
to your satisfaction.
Mr. Chairman. Madam Attorney General, the time belongs to the gentleman from Colorado. The president under which PIN was created was Gerald Ford. It was created after Watergate. I'm not asking a question, Madam Attorney General. The administration under which it was created was Gerald Ford. When you first started as the Attorney General of the United States, there were 35 people working in that office. There are now 2 people working in that office because you have gutted it. How many people work for the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team in the criminal division today? Can I answer the question about PIN? I've asked you a question. How many people how many people work for the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team? You won't answer how many? I'll answer PIN. You. I will not be. You know what? You know what? What's funny about this? I'll say to the chairman. What's funny about this? Chairman, you know what? The answer is, and I think I understand why the Attorney General does not want to answer the question, because you eliminated the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team last year. So I understand why you don't want to tell the American people who works there. Yeah, I no one works there. You don't want to talk about Mohammed Solomon in your district. In any event, who murdered people. Mr. Chairman, will you stop the clock so his time is not wasted by the witness? Very generous with allowing extra time.
Like she got a whole list of pivot so that anytime they have something to say that she's uncomfortable with, she can pick out something in their district that is terrible. So, oh boy, man, this is like this is like listening to junior high schoolers argue in the lunchroom.
We have these little disputes. I understand. You got the time. I might as well ask the chairman these questions. I'd be happy to answer your questions. What's profound? The questions I've asked. The crime in your district. Mr. Chairman,
are not trick questions. They're not gotcha questions. They're actually basic questions about how the Department of Justice functions. And the unwillingness of this attorney general to answer them in good faith. When a member of Congress asks, how many people work at the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team, and the attorney general refuses to answer it, it is not a coincidence. It's because she eliminated the team. Why? Because her boss, the president of the United States, is making money hand over fist, $1.4 billion over the course of the last year through cryptocurrency holdings. I think what is happening at the Department of Justice is a disgrace, Mr. Chairman. And I would urge you to gain control of this hearing. With that, I yield back to balance my time. Yeah. I would. Oh, this was, yeah, this was gut wrenching here. You apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information? What's up, y'all? Mentors, coaches, businessmen, businesswomen, entrepreneurs. We want to help you level. Goodness. Congresswoman, you sat before Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice. Attorney General Bondi. No, can I finish my answer? No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question. Attorney General, that I would like question to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done. Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can that's respond. Not accurate, Mr. Chairman. Because she doesn't like the answer. Time. So, Mr. Chairman, why I have asked. Didn't she asked Merrick Garland this? I'm reclaiming my time, and when I reclaim my time, it is. Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady is reclaiming the time. I'm not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics. The time belongs to the time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds. This is unbelievable. I can't. You're not going to answer this question. I can't. You know what I do know? I'll tell you what. When they released those victims' names accidentally for just under an hour before they redacted them like they redacted all of the perpetrators, it allowed anybody who might be looking for them or might be hired to find them, it allowed them time to gather up all that information. Yeah, rest in peace to Virginia Giuffre. Why is nobody talking about any of this?
Well, we're on a constant loop of just distractions. It's talk about everything but, and then they're creating more distractions. We had the Middle East. We had, I mean, even before that, the Three Eye Atlas, and it's just it's a kind of constant bombardment of BS, so that no one can talk about it. They
We should
waiting
pay
on people
more
to forget.
attention. We should pay more attention. Does anybody know who this is?
Plaskett Potter, okay, running for mayor. Mayor of who? Virgin Islands. Okay, I'm sorry, governor.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess they got to move things around, you know. Brian who they had in there who went out of their way to get rid of the one woman that was committed to taking down Jeffrey Epstein and his whole network. I guess they got to move him around, so they're trying to get somebody else. Unfortunately, this is what somebody had to say. Can you see that?
Yeah, I just see a, or maybe I
They
just seen a
say
poster.
anonymous
Okay.
participant says, I just see a poster of Plaskett running for governor, and I almost laughed at the absolute gall of this woman who was in the Epstein circle to think we'd elect a PDF a protector. These people are corrupt and disgusting and shouldn't be in charge of the classroom, much less a country. And then you see what somebody else had to say. America elected one on November 4th, 2025, and they filled their cabinet with PDF of protectors. This, this, these are the real conversations that are happening. This woman, they ran her out of her job. And now, to replace the person who shut her down, this woman, it's documented. She worked with, she worked alongside Epstein. You want to know what else, though? I also find interesting. No one's paying attention to the activity that's happening at his old address.
Hmm.
There's a lot of activity going on at his old address down there on Little St. James.
Tell us about it. What's been going on? Are people still occupying that island?
It's being occupied and it's being operated and it's being protected.
Hmm.
There's a content creator that's been following the former grounds manager, a local woman. Interesting
Hmm.
background, interesting family. Yeah, apparently anybody that comes around there trying to get any information, beware, beware, because they're hunting people down on speedboats, grabbing them up at firearm point, stripping them down butt naked, and hog tying them and threatening them to take their life. And oddly enough, they get arrested and they get released with no serious charges. I don't think any of these incidents of this woman and her daughter's, her pregnant daughter's boyfriends and any of the other employees that she has working there, I don't think they're going to let any of these cases go to court. There's a lot of activity happening on Jeffrey Epstein's island. And it's just so interesting because apparently a few people have tried to get a little gander at it, fly a drone over it and get some information. And yeah, people getting hurt as if someone's life depended on it. We're looking into the guy who purchased it. I'm just curious if Deckoff bought it because he bought Little St. James and he bought Great St. James. So he owns the whole situation. And he got it hella cheap. It was going for 125 million and he was able to buy it for less than half, for 60.
Wow.
Both islands. But he was supposed to
Wow.
be turning it into a luxury resort. He's owned it
Okay,
for
so
3 years now.
I was just looking up the research. There's little St. James Island doesn't necessarily have a population. It's reported that it was the private residence of JE. Now, he wanted to turn this into a resort of some sort.
Deck off, yeah, a
Apparently, I get
25
it's
room luxury resort.
so my thing is it's located 1 mile away from St. Thomas, right? Um, hmm, hmm.
All you need is a good speedboat.
Yeah, you can get there in a matter of, yeah,
Minutes.
yeah.
You know, it's so funny. Everyone was sitting there. Oh, she said she swam to Epstein Island and she did this and she did that. Even that big fraudy CC guy want to sit up there. Man, she said she got a boat. She did this. She did that. Do you know how much money that would cost to be able to do all of that? Speedboats aren't that expensive to rent. Number
Mm-mm.
one. And number two, if you know people that have their own boats, it's really funny. It's really funny when you listen to the way that they talk. And this is all United States territory,
Yeah.
all of it. You want to know what's really funny though? That house manager of his that is willing to pop a cap in anybody who come over there. There's another guy that's affiliated with another residence of hers who got busted for bringing a woman with no passport from the British Virgin Islands to the United States Virgin Islands. And he
Mm,
walked away. And apparently, Jeffrey Epstein took care of this woman. She worked for him for 20 years,
mm.
put her children through school, the whole 9 yards. What's even funnier is what I don't understand is how if Dekoff and his Black Diamond Investments Group, who also own a charter plane company, they own their own private plane company.
Hmm.
If they bought it to turn it into a resort, first things first, who would want to stay on a resort that was ever inhabited by this weirdo with all of the crazy stuff we know happened there?
I don't know if you can sage a whole island. It'll have to be some cleansing
You need a
if I bought it.
volcano to erupt and start from scratch to purify all of that. I don't know anyone that would say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to stay at a luxury resort that used to be, you know, Jeffrey E's place." Like, yeah, no, I wouldn't be interested in going there. But more
Mm-mm.
importantly, is he living there? And why would you hire the property manager of this guy to continue to stay on working there? When clearly, with everything that happened there, they were a part of the cover up of what all evil was going. Why would you hire her and her crew? Like, that's
It's
not making any sense.
not at all.
What is Dekoff doing? Well, I can tell you what he's not doing. He's not busy turning it into a resort because he hasn't put in not one permit for any kind of construction. No construction has been done. No materials has been shipped there. Nothing. It's just sitting there.
Mm.
with someone guarding it who apparently are able to surveillance whoever approaches the island so that they can get in a boat and track them down and hunt them down. Because, like, for somebody to just randomly be passing by the island and drop a drone and go run up to shore to go grab it, and then this team comes out chasing them down, that would require surveillance. It's not like they were sitting out there on the beach when somebody ran up. If that's the case, they probably wouldn't have went back. They probably wouldn't have approached the island, which means the surveillance and someone guarding the property. Oh, by the way, that whole incident with the clone drone, the drone that crashed on the beach when they ran up on them because they were on jet skis. They rolled up on jet skis. So once again, this is very accessible from mainland if you can
Yeah.
make it there on jet skis.
Yeah.
I want people to think about that. For all of the people who like running around here, oh my God, she said she did this and she did that. And how did she do that? She's a liar. She's been debunked. Really? You can get there on jet skis. Clearly, this is very accessible. Anyway, I digress. When they caught up to him, because he was able to get up on the land and get the drone and drive off, they took the memory card out where
Hmm.
they had been filming the footage, and they threw it in the ocean. Who does that?
People that
Like,
are
it's one thing if you're approaching someone because they're trespassing,
right.
but what they were worried about was the footage.
Yeah.
And then they stripped them down buck naked and hog tied them and left them on a boat. And understand, this happened this year. This just happened 2 months ago in March. Oh, what else was going on in March? Oh, that's right. Congress was gathering together and asking people questions and asking people to come and testify about being included in the files. Britney Spears and her mystery DUI, where even though she passed her sobriety test, she just pled guilty to being drunk, even though she wasn't, went to rehab. You got Rihanna's house being pow-powed up after her name got mentioned um in these files on the call log. I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, is nobody paying attention? And meanwhile, these two young people came up filming, trying to get some information because they're researching Little St. James, which means they're researching Jeffrey Epstein, which means these people. So Deckoff owns it. Who was there that they're protecting? And why would you still be employing Jeffrey's crew to work for you? I why in God's name would you do that? You wouldn't you just, like, fire everybody? Like, wouldn't you fire everybody and start fresh? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. There's a lot of activity happening at Jeffrey Epstein's old house. And there's a whole staff there that's protecting it and prepared to catch charges. felony charges to conceal what may or may not be going on there. I'm starting to think it's really not about what's in the files. I'm starting to think it's about what's not in the files and what they're hiding from the world. I don't know, guys. But it's looking like they're trying to get the band back together again. That's what it's looking like to me. When you got people like this, and meanwhile, she's got her own weirdo allegations that popped out about her and her husband. Apparently, her husband likes to wear makeup, kind of like Christy Gnomes and her husband in his push-up bras. Um, and apparently, there's some really strange video footage with her kid involved. With her kid involved. I don't know. All of this seems really weird. Really weird. What if, because let's be clear, they didn't release all of the files, they only released half, 3 million, which is a full and complete and total dump. They're retracting stuff and deleting stuff little by little every day, which I believe they're deleting pieces that they know can lead to other pieces that will make it possible for intelligent people like us to be able to point at things that they don't want us to talk about. I think this was all a ruse. I think that they knew and I think that they believed that the stuff that people would see would be so triggering that they would turn away, that they wouldn't want to have anything to do with it, and that those who were willing to do the deep dives and those who were willing to stomach all of the abuse and all of the horror and all of the shame and all of the nightmares, those people who were willing to put up with all of that, it would still be too much for them to research. Then they did mass redactions. I wonder how many girls did make it off that island alive. I wonder how many moms are grieving their kids that made it to that island. No, understand this. Everything in the files, a lot of it is true, but they added stuff too. Like, put it to you this way, that Kim Porter book that Chris Todd did that had some real stuff in it and a lot of fake stuff in it to throw people off. I want you to remember that. Do you guys remember that? Do you remember the Kim Porter book that they got taken down and all of that? Like, there was real excerpts that were written from Kim's personal diary, from her personal memoir, from her personal recollection in that book, but it was shrouded with a bunch of fake stuff. What if that's the Epstein files on a much greater scale? They gave us a bunch of true stuff, but they put in just enough fake stuff. And they redacted and they switched around and they flipped around. Meanwhile, while everybody's busy either trying to do a deep dive before all of the pertinent information is deleted or ignoring it because it's too much of a nightmare, what if all of that is there? And then think about that with all of the compounded distractions and all of the social media blase blah whoop-de whoop-de woo and rhetoric. Meanwhile, while they're doing that, they're restaffing the flesh caravan. I want you to think about that. They're putting new people in position. They're making sure that they get rid of the people that remember too much. Like, I want you to really think about what I'm saying. The people of the Virgin Islands, they're not interested in seeing this chick make it. By the way, she was born in Brooklyn and she worked in government in the Bronx. Her parents are from the island. They moved to New York City area. That's where she was born and raised. Her and another woman, Cecile Dijon, who used to be the former First Lady of the Virgin Islands. Hmm. They were both heavily invested in working with old Jeffrey, heavily invested in running his charities, heavily invested in covering for his cover up crew. And they're trying to make her governor. I want y'all to think about that. What if releasing the files was the greatest play ever to satisfy the public by mortifying them, horrifying them, and then leaving just enough out there to create a fight against good and evil between Democrat and Republican? And while everybody's busy, they're restaffing the network. Because anybody who thinks that both Democrats and Republicans ain't involved in this Jeffrey Epstein cover up is crazy. Crazy. Diddy was controlled opposition, and they had him collecting all kinds of stuff. You got Jeffrey collecting on one side, you got the diddler collecting on another. And between the two of them, they had enough material to blackmail the whole world. And if not the whole world, at least all of America. Like, I want y'all to think about that. I want y'all to think about the fact that while they're busy running around glazing the Obamas, and while you got Michelle Obama talking about America's in a janky stage, well, what the hell do you call it when it was up underneath y'all? Because y'all clientele with a lot of people that had a lot of involvement with Mr. Ep. A lot of people y'all clienteled with. More importantly, don't you think we be fools to think that every president that was in office who helped keep those files secret didn't know what was in them? We supposed to believe the Obamas didn't know what was in those files? They could have released them. Why didn't they? The Biden administration, Kamala Harris, they all knew what was in those files. They could have released them. Why didn't they? There's a lot of people right now talking crazy about the Republican Party and trying to make the Democrats seem as though they're so much better and they're so much more righteous. Clinton knew too. They all knew. Clinton's daughter owns an apartment that Jeffrey bought for her in a building. Hmm? This is what I keep trying to tell everybody. This is what I keep trying to get everybody to see. This is all of this arguing, all of this fighting about who's dirty and who's not, and who's better and who's worse and who's this and who's that. There's a content creator that was just over there cussing somebody out about Trump and sitting there and glazing on Obama. And all I could think to myself is, as intelligent as you sound when it comes to half of your argument, it's sad that you don't realize how stupid you sound on the other half because you're sitting here praising a bunch of people who have all been working together in tandem to keep all of this secret. But if y'all notice, nothing got released until they got all of Diddy's evidence first. See? They had to get all of the evidence first to make sure that they could control the complete narrative. Kim Porter doing a book was no bueno because her book would have exposed a whole lot of stuff that would have contradicted the narrative. Nobody's paying attention to that. The Transparency Act didn't get passed until after Diddy was sentenced and went to jail. And a good share of that evidence didn't even get used at his trial. It didn't even get used at the trial. They wanted to make sure that they had lock and key and everything all contained, allegedly, so that when they release stuff, listen to me. When you're in the system as deep as Kim was in, you have to try to be able to trust somebody. Yes, he's controlled opposition. Yes, my yacht. See, now you're catching on. Now you're catching on. Which is why when Christians started sitting there complaining about how all these people was in the e-files, but his dad was in jail and they was walking around and how terrible it was. That's why 50 Cent came out talking like he was talking. The only reason your dad wasn't in those files is because he got his own files. He was talking a little bit too much. But see, he knew that he could say something like that out loud because he knows ain't nobody paying attention to what's actually going on. I've been trying to put people on the game for a long time. How true it is or not. But I heard more than one person has a copy of her tell all. Hopefully, the truth will come out one day. Sweetheart, I told everyone that that thing was parceled out in pieces. Nobody got the whole thing. But you know what? Regardless of what, because of Chris Todd's book, even if the real stuff came out in totality completely, nobody would believe it because they've already see this is what they do. They push lies out there. They take some of the truth, they wrap it and shroud it in unbelievable lies, and then they push it out there so that anytime. No, Kimura ain't never gonna talk. If Kimura talk, Kimura's going to jail. Let's be real. Accomplices usually go to jail, even if it's after the fact. More importantly, she don't care. She cares about herself. She cares about what happens to her kids. She cares about her name. She cares about her legacy. She cares about how she's perceived. She ain't thinking about no victims. Meanwhile, she's busy fighting a high price eviction for a property that she can't afford for a man that tricked her into marrying him and they ain't even legally married. Y'all don't get it? She was raised by the industry. A good share of them are. And for those of us who came up in the industry, trust me, everything that I've done over the course of the past 6 years is just the worst. And that's why people in the industry, I don't bother them and they leave me be. Because talking to me because of what I done will end somebody's career. Because the truth is, what the boys who run the show want to know is who has been talking to me so that they can handle up on everybody and cut all the leaks. Why do y'all think I don't ever tell y'all exactly who I talk to, who I've talked to, who I share information with? Because the truth is, that can take somebody's life. It can. If people knew, blow your minds. And a couple of the people have recently taken more money and signed fresh NDAs. Sure have. And the truth is, I should blast them out. But I'm not going to. Because when I make promises, I keep them. This is what I'm doing for Mother's Day. I'm getting to the heart of the truth. Nobody tapped up the super chat, and that's fine. But as many liars sit on here and beg for money, I'm telling y'all right now, this month is my birthday month. Show a sister some love. Donate to the Cash App. Donate to the GoFundMe. Donate to the PayPal. I could use all the help I can get. Oh no. No, Diddy's life is never gonna be the same. It's never gonna be the same, my yard. His life is never gonna be the same, no matter how hard he try. Some more dominoes are about to fall. Thank you, Shy Girl. Appreciate you. Some more dominoes are about to fall, but I'm telling you right now, I think they're reworking the system. Oh, thank you, Maya. I think they're reworking the system. And I think people need to start asking who's still living on the island? Who's still living in Jeffrey's little hellhole? Because I don't think it's the man that owns it. I really don't. And I'm starting to believe that maybe this man ain't dead after all. Just like I'm starting to believe that maybe Ghislaine ain't in nobody's prison in Texas. You know, if they're kicking it down on that island, that would be enough reason for the caretaker to be running around, toting firearms, threatening to take out anybody who pulls up. That's for sure. Hmm. Sometimes the best place to hide is in plain sight, right there in front of everybody's face. Thank you, Joyful. Sometimes that's the best place to hide, right there in everybody's face. It's nothing like hiding in plain sight. Brandon says, I'm convinced the only reason Usher and Chris are on tour is because Jag said it would never happen because Chris would steal the show. Listen to me. You might be half right about that, but not only that, they need everybody out there working. And let's not pay it. Let's also not forget that ever since they announced their tour, Chris Brown has been getting bombarded with a bunch of negative press, and they keep reporting that he keeps having firearm incidents happening outside of his house that he has to debunk. And they keep has nobody noticed that? Everybody, they're putting the whole industry to work. Everybody. Oh, thank you, my loves. Thank you, Kat. Seriously, thank you, Angel. Like, I don't think y'all get it. Listen to me. That Met Gala, it ain't come off the way they wanted it to. I'm telling y'all, it's about to get real, it's about to get crazy, and it's about to get ugly. This is not what they wanted. They thought they was going to be able to do the normal. Too many people are awake. Why do you think they come after me? Why do you think they keep trying to find ways to silence me and to shut me up? Why do you think they want me gone so bad? I'm telling y'all, this is not what you think. None of it is. And I gotta be careful. I gotta be really careful. This weekend, what I'm doing for Mother's Day is tons of research. My gift is the truth. So, these next pods, we're going to be talking about some of the activity that's been happening, not just at Epstein Island, but around his little demented kingdom. I'm going to be paying a lot more attention to things like this. I think they're trying to get the band back together. I think they're trying to get it right back to business as usual. The things we let them get away with. Question is why? Y'all need to stop needing entertainment so bad. Y'all need to stop needing to be kept busy so bad. This whole country. The Epstein files, the Epstein files, the Epstein files, the Epstein files. And ever since they come out, just bigger distraction and greater division. But the one thing that I will say that I do know, if you really, really, really want to get to the heart of something, if you want to figure out how something's going to end, sometimes you just need to go back to the beginning. Hmm. That Black Mirror effect, right? Happy Mother's Day, guys. And yes, thank you, Janine. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in the chat. Do yourself a favor. Just honor your motherhood. Don't pimp it and use it as a hustle. You know? Don't disgrace it and treat it like a trick bag. I swear to God, when I first saw that, that's exactly what it did. Just how? That really should be the message. Honor your motherhood, honor your womanhood. Ah, peace, y'all. I'm out.